But what would you say is the greatest challenge for Queensland in this very moment?
The greatest challenge?
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
How are you going to synthesise all of that?
I think that is the challenge, isn't it? We've got so much on. We've got so much on, and we need to get most of it right. Not all of it right, because that's impossible. But I think it is indeed trying to walk and chew gum is probably the challenge for the sector, given that what sits before us, and then not necessarily getting so. Okay, so in terms of the biggest challenge that I think we face, we've got a government who are very clear about what they want to do. We've got a series of election commitments that we'll get through. There's some truly wicked things that will require greater attention, from housing to youth crime to our health system generally. There's a number of things. But then for me, there's the other advice where we get to stop the world and get off for a little while. So we've got our operational work that we need to do, but we also need to start to drive some thought leadership and strategic leadership for the government on what else might we do beyond that. And so if I think about economically, there are things that clearly government have set out that we need to continue to pursue, but there is also a responsibility for us about, well, what next? And what truly might make a difference to the Queensland economy that we need to start to get ready for now. And there's great work going on in state development and elsewhere, but equally, what are we doing that will truly challenge the government of the day to turn its mind to some of those future decisions? So we've got their current decisions, set of decisions that we now need to implement. But what are those other things? So that's sort of an extra layer to the walking and chewing gum piece, because we've got lots to do and limited resource. Then we've also got to find the time to make sure that we've got really good strategic advice going into the political class, and so that they can make informed decisions about the longer term.
I think that's actually really exciting, Damien, to be have that opportunity, because some of the issues that we face do have a long burn, solutions to them. The portfolio is working together across those dynamic challenges. For those aspiring into the SES, what is it that you expect of us in the room, to mobilise to that complexity?
So this is easier said than done, and I think I touched on a little earlier. I think the punter, the taxpayer of Queensland, sees the Queensland Public Service, sees the state government, yet, and this is by our own design, we then establish a whole bunch of departments, which we like to mob regularly, but we establish these departments. We apply budgets to the departments. We have legislation that's assigned to the departments. We appoint a Director General and then make it very clear as to what the Director General's responsibilities are. Same with the Minister. So we find a way to actually put these silos in place. Yet the expectation is we just operate as a state government. In fact, they often sort of blur between state and local, and then people even get confused about when the federal government starts and stops. So there is an expectation from our primary client, who is indeed the people of Queensland, that we operate in a really joined up manner, but that's not classically the reality. And so that architecture, of which I think I've got a particular responsibility to try and diminish or break down or start to make a little bit more permeable, is the architecture in which the machine of government operates. And my request to them is to continue to disrupt and push against that architecture, because I think that is the true opportunity that we've got, where I want public servants to see the issues, and they're connected, right? Youth crime doesn't happen in just one department, or the responsibility for addressing it doesn't happen in one department. It happens in at least six. What our economic future might be beyond the current government set of vision and strategies is something that occurs across many departments, not just one. So I want people to start to connect and drive these whole of government ideas and solutions, and it's all well and good for people like me to bang on about it. I think where the rubber hits the road is indeed you picking up a phone and starting to have a conversation with someone in another department, and starting to test and challenge the people above you around, but why are we operating in such a siloed manner? So anyway, it would be a challenge or a call to arms for everyone to the extent we can, I reckon, in a more joined up way, which then allows, which it's then incumbent upon me and, David Mackey and his team to think a little more around agility and mobility and how we might make it a little easier for people. And this is Treasury, how, we always use, but I couldn't possibly, I've only got my budget. There are things we need to do differently to allow you to be more joined up. But that would be the focus.
That's fantastic.